am Connie Fuksa, and I work with entrepreneurs to help them be able to tell their story, understand their value, realize their value, and share their value with other people. And I do that through my website, conniefuksa.com. And I am right now going through a series of interviewing entrepreneurs to try to share their stories with you. And I think the value of sharing their story is because one, we want to share the information about their business, number one. But number two, I really want you guys to hear from other entrepreneurs that they have gone through or are going through exactly what you're going through. So no matter what you think your struggle is, it can be overcome. It is figure outable, as we like to say. So this afternoon, I'm really excited to share with you guys a lady I just recently met. As I've said to you guys, if you know somebody that's an entrepreneur or has is in charge of a business or has some business experiences, I'd love to be able to share their story. So please share them with me. And that's how I met this lady. So this afternoon, I have this great pleasure of introducing you to Cynthia. She is a phenomenal photographer, just a very kind person. And Cynthia, thank you so much for being on with us today. And please pronounce your name for us so I don't do it incorrectly.
Absolutely, Connie. Thank you so much for having me. It's a real honor to be here. So my name is Cynthia Schiavetto. I know it's a mouthful.
See, there's exactly why I didn't do it. Just like people will say to me, I don't know how to say Fuksa. And I get it. Yours is a little bit more than I could have taken on, but that was wonderful. So Cynthia, thank you so much for your time today. What I want to do first is I really want you to share your story. So tell us, like, who is Cynthia? Where did you come from? How did you get to where you are right now? And what are you doing right now?
Okay, well, my name is Cynthia. I go by Cindy. The name of my business is Schiavetto Photography. I will be having a studio over here in Waldorf in Charles County. My name originated from Schiavetto is middle name, my mother's middle name, and then Staliunas is my dad's Lithuanian name. And so in other countries, we incorporate the mother's maiden name and the father's instead of like Marianne, it's the whole name.
Hey,
anyway, so what I focus is I'm a transformation portrait and branding photographer, and I focus on women's inner strengths and empowerment and their psychological setbacks. I want women to experience the best version of themselves by offering luxury photo sessions where you come into the studio, I spend some time with you and my team, we get your hair and makeup done, and then we photograph you based on the customized session that we've previously discussed. I think it's more of like a therapy session, but it'll be the best therapy session you've ever had. I mean, who doesn't like to get pampered, right?
Right. Of course. Of course. So it sounds like your primary focus is ladies. Do you have any customers that are men?
I do. Absolutely.
Very good. Very good. So they need pampering as well. Excuse me. My nose itches.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Well, I wanted to make sure we pointed that out because immediately guys tune out a lot of times when they hear that pampering thing. So tell us, how did you get into doing this and why this very specific specialty of doing photography? What is the niche and why, how did you gravitate to that?
Okay. As a child, I studied cosmetology and I modeled briefly. In 2010, I graduated with a psychology degree, and I didn't want to pursue psychology because it was just too political, and I don't like the evolutionist type of, atmosphere that they like to be a part of. And so I wanted to bring my passions together, and I felt that images speak louder than words. I have always been a bigger girl, definitely not a model size by any means, not small enough, not big enough. And so one day while I was walking in the mall as a child, I think I was about 19, I was approached by a modeling agency in Rodeo Drive. And I knew it was a gimmick, but my mindset went to, maybe it'll just help me with my self-esteem. I can be more social. And it turns out it really did. Just by, having the classes, it made me more confident. It made me less shy. And I have a voice now. It just made me come out of my shell just based on doing things that I felt good about. And so I feel that as a woman, we're always insecure. And I strongly believe in confronting your fears head on so that you can overcome them. And the more you do it, the easier it gets.
Yeah, those philosophies hold true in so many different areas. But so let's go back for a minute because so when you got out of college, and this is I hate to point this out, but I think this is, and not in your case, but I mean, just overall, that this is a common theme with entrepreneurs. So you go to school for something, you may even do that for a little while. And then what happens is that blossoms, or something confronts you that says, this is what you need to be doing. And you figure out either how to cultivate that you went to school for into this shift, or you totally set that aside, what you went to college for, and then you're moving into this shift that you've seen. But it sounds like you took that that training and incorporated it into with the other things that you loved, and have figured out how to mold it into something that you're just absolutely passionate about.
Absolutely.
That's really cool. That's really cool. So, so tell us a day in the life, like, so somebody finds you, they say, okay, I think I want to do some photography, but I don't really know how this looks, what we do. So give us a step-by-step. I'll pick up the phone, I call you, I say, hey, I've seen some of your photography and I'd like to know more. What do you tell me? How does this work?
Like my elevator my elevator pitch.
Well, no, I'm going to share that towards the end, but more like, what do we do? Obviously this is more than just setting up a photography session and boom, I come in and, you set me up and we take care of it. I mean, obviously with the psychology involved and, the pampering and the beauty session, there's a lot more involved in this. So give us a little peek behind the curtain, if you will, about how this all works.
Absolutely. So what I do is I have a consultation that I prepare you with what we're going to wear, what day is best for you. What is your inner fear, your inner beast, as I call it, because we all have an inner beast that we want to bring out. And so we discuss that and we discuss all your color options, the type of outfits that you are drawn into, and how you would like your shoot to be, whether it's a personal branding or if it's something that you just want to be glamorous. It all depends based on your personality and your likes and dislikes. I strongly believe that the superpower that I have is within your self-awareness and the self-connection. And I say self-connection because you can be aware of your feelings, but you may not be connected. And that's where I like to bring in to my photography. I love to see how people, I love to see how amazing the person can be. And they don't know it until I unleash their inner beast.
Gotcha.
And, my father would always say, there's no ugly woman, just a woman that doesn't see their beauty and doesn't care about themselves. And that's where I come in and I bring that out of you, without really even having to discuss that. It's psychological, where the things that I do and the way that I interact with you, it just comes out naturally. And you end up by the end of the day being my best friend and telling me all your secrets. And and because I have a psychology degree, I'm very ethical. So it's a therapy session.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, it sounds like a multi-purpose kind of event that definitely clears out a lot of things. But it sounds like, to me, very interestingly, that, the photography side of it, if any of you guys have done some professional portraits, you know that there's pieces of it that really do draw out things that, the camera captures things that you just don't even know are there. And it hides things that you do know are there because you're focused on other things and depending on who you're working with. But it also sounds like that personality side that you're interested in pulling out also lends itself to making the photos, making you more aware of the things to focus on as far as the photos are concerned.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's very interesting. So you went straight from college to you said, okay, I'm going to do this type of photography. I'm going to open my own business. No, she says no. So walk us through there. How did you get from there to where you are now?
Well, right after college, I moved to San Diego and I pursued a career with the adoptions department for the county of San Diego. And I stayed there for about 4 years and then we moved here. I did start photography in 2011, and it was through a dream. Honestly, it was a dream that I I kept dreaming about a certain name, and I started my name previous. I have a previous name to this. It was called Infinite Photography, and I kept dreaming about this logo. And then one day I just said, you know what, I'm going to go with it. And so in 2011, I started doing photography alongside with my my career in the adoptions department.
Interesting. Adoption, so like children adoptions.
Correct, fostering and children's.
Interesting. So you did take that psychology degree and used it for a while. It wasn't like you came out of college and said, this isn't it for me. I want to do photography. So you went through that a little bit and realized, wow, there's another piece to something else I want to do.
Absolutely.
Did you start doing photography on your own, or were you working with a studio or with a partner, or is it all you right out of the dream?
I did have a class in college for black and white photography in the lab, doing all the lab work. But after that, it was just me. I wanted to learn. There are some platforms online that were it was night and day. I literally took it so extreme that I wouldn't sleep for days. I wouldn't eat for days. I wouldn't take shower for days. That was not pretty. But I taught myself everything that I know through some platforms. There is great platforms out there. There's Creative Live. That's where I started. They're free educational courses. There's Lydia, which is free from the library. I mean, whatever you want online, you can find. You just have to know how to get there and how important is it to you. I've taught myself how to do retouching, and now I do retouching for photographers all over the world. I do graphic designing. But again, just like Picasso, he may draw something in 2 minutes, but it took him 40 years to be able to get there.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why also photography is expensive. It's the quality of what you want. Do you want somebody that's just going to take a picture and that's it? Or do you want somebody that will help you enhance the beauty that you have? You know, like for instance, this chin right here. If you see it, you see a difference? I'm going to give you a tip right now. And if you push it forward, look what it does.
No chin.
So, do you want somebody that knows how to teach you how to do that? Or do you want just beautiful pictures of yourself? I mean.
Right. Well, and I like this, this concept that you're talking about of staying with it, studying, and pushing it. No one learned how to be an expert at what they're doing in a week or a month or maybe even a year. But what we see now, because, this is how social media is we see people and we're envious because we're like, oh my gosh, I want to be able to do that. They just dropped into that and now they're doing it. And it never, ever is that. Now, they may be having some success right now, but here's the thing, guys. If you are dropped into something and you're having great success, without the training and the expertise and the time involved and the time into it, it's not going to last. It's not going to be sustainable. So, and in most cases, you're not going to be sustainable for very long at all. So I love this, taking that training and applying it and moving forward, because that's that's a huge nugget for people to understand, because a lot of people that want to get started say, oh my gosh, I have this great passion for photography and I take really great pictures and jump in. And then, their quality is not what people want in the photography of, in the photos of individuals. That's very different than taking pictures of a wine glass or flowers or those kinds of things. So I love hearing that part, because that's a true entrepreneurial step in that study and understanding that it takes time to go through the bumps to learn how to get through them.
Yeah, photography is about 10 to 20% of the actual business. Everything else is marketing, PR, graphic designing, networking. So you're not only just being a photographer, which I actually don't even like the term photography. It's probably cliche right now. Mm-hmm. In my case, I like to think of it as a photographic counselor, or I don't know.
Still working on what that exact description is, right? And I love this, that you're talking about all these other pieces to business, because this is a theme that we've talked about several times with several entrepreneurs too, is, running a business, you may know what you want to do. You may want to be a photographer. You may want to be the person who makes plastic bottles. You want to be the person that makes eyeglasses, because you just have a secret formula, and you may be fantastic at that. but you may not know all the nuances that you need to run that business safely, securely, properly, and successfully. And that's the piece that people getting into an entrepreneurial business or a business, excuse me, and stepping into that entrepreneurial self don't realize that that happens. So talk to us a little bit about that, because I think that's the thing that people don't always understand, that, you know, you have to know or be expect to have some of these challenges to be doing things that you didn't necessarily prepare for or train for in that expertise that you think you wanted to know.
Oh, the business aspect.
Yes,
Oh,
ma'am.
taxes and the separating the money. I tried to do it in like threes, you know, one for the business, back into the business, one for taxes, and one to pay myself. I mean, there's a lot to go through. You can't do it in 10 minutes, you know. You're going to have to hire Connie because
Well, and the thing
too
is,
much
you have
work.
to know your limits, because some people just aren't good at even compartmentalizing that thing. So you have to know your limits and your capabilities and be willing to delegate out some of that
You
stuff.
delegate it to others that have a better, you know, overview of it. The things that you don't want to do and that you don't like doing, pay somebody else to do it. It'll open up, give you more time to do the things that you do love, enjoy, and make you more profitable.
Oh, good. So now let's go. I'm glad you said that, because let's go into talking about that love. So with everybody, I bring up this superpower concept, but here's what I want you to focus on when I talk about that superpower. Number one, I want to know, what is it that you think you are like magical at, you're really good at, that sets you apart? Because, you know, there's, I don't even know, hundreds of thousands of photographers around the world. And everybody has a different way of doing different things and a different specialty and different nuances. So I want you to talk about that first. What's the thing that makes you just on fire? And then the other thing is, what actually makes you feel like you're on fire? Like you're working with somebody and something happens and you go, oh my gosh, that's why I love doing this. Like all the hair on your arm stands up, or your back just gets all tingly, or your hair feels like it's on fire. You know, what is that thing that you go, oh, gosh, I love doing this, and this is why. So tell us those two things for you.
So I think it goes back to that self-awareness and self-connection. I love to see a person just transform in front of my eyes. They come in maybe a little shy, maybe a little, I don't want to do this. And you go through the motion, you do the hair and the makeup, you see the person transform, they start feeling confident, and then you start having a good time. They start forgetting about that they're taking pictures, they're just having a good time. And then, you know, they look beautiful. And then at the end of the shoot, it's like, oh, we're done. And then I say, go out and have a good time. Have a ladies' night out. Go have dinner with your honey. Go show off that beautiful makeup you have on. And then I have them come in about a week or so after their session to come in and do a reveal. And I post all the photos physically in front of them, showing them how beautiful they are. And sometimes when you see them cry and have that emotion of like, oh my God, that's me, it's like the best feeling ever. Like I just got chills right now.
There you go. Exactly. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Oh, I love that. So your two facets are all rolled into one. I mean, your superpower is that you're able to figure out and see inside somebody's heart and say, all right, this is what I'm going to showcase for this person, which I love. It's really cool, because that's where that psychology degree is coming in. So that is just really powerful. But then the other piece of it is that, yeah, just like you just said, I mean, seeing the result and people's response to that result, you know, isn't it magical to do something that you absolutely love to do and for people to love what you do just as much as you do? And so, I mean, what else could we want as a business owner, right?
Absolutely. And I hear it all the time, you know, how you spend your life behind the camera, and one day your kids are going to be like, well, Mom, where can I find a picture? And I'm not photogenic. I never wanted to be in front of the camera, but yet it's I lost my train of thought. But
hey, let me tell you something on that end. Yes, I will tell you that the photos of you on Facebook, and I had just met you a week ago, are just phenomenal. So they, you know, whoever
post the before and after picture so that you can see. But that's what, yeah. I'll put it on my.
None of us get to do that, so don't do that. No, I mean, they're phenomenal pictures, so that's absolutely amazing. So let's go back to. I wanted to talk to you for a minute about so you moved from California, you moved to Southern Maryland. How long have you been in Southern Maryland? And do you have, are you still trying to build those relationships in Southern Maryland? And are you, how are you doing that next? What's next? What does it look like now? What are you doing?
Well, I moved here about 3.5 years ago, but I do travel some. I go worldwide occasionally to some shoots. I also do like dream
Oh,
shoots. So I meet people in like Paris or New York or wherever.
cool.
I just got back from Oregon. And so right now I was going to sign a lease with a studio over in St. Charlestown Mall, whatever. And it's right next to Ashley's Furniture.
Okay.
And so I'm going to sign a lease, and I had to postpone it because of the COVID.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting on that. As soon as that gets cleared up, I will be putting my sign on there, and we're open for business.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I'm excited. So I'm kind of right now prepping for that, getting my signs ready, getting all my license and paperwork all ready for that. And as far as clientele, I have some celebrity ones that live in Virginia. I have some business owners I work with a lot, real estate agents. I do real estate as well. And every real estate needs a professional headshot. So, hi.
Very good. Very good.
So I
That's
am trying
awesome.
to build it locally because I do want to stay more locally and help my community out as well. So that's
That's
where I'm
awesome.
at.
So that's really cool that you'll have a studio too, because I think one of the things that maybe people who don't understand the photography side of the world, a lot of photographers like to do at natural settings or in your office and those kinds of things, which are neat.
And that's
But
fine.
some people just want to get out of their life and get in a studio too. So that's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. And it's my job to make the person look good. You don't have to be photogenic. You don't have to wait for to lose 20 lose those wrinkles that are never going to go away. You have
Yeah.
to be who you are right now.
Right. Yeah, for sure. I love it. I love it. All right, so let's go back to the business side and let me ask you, what is one of the most common questions that people ask you when they're deciding whether they want to work with you or understanding exactly what you do? Because like I said, when you're talking about photography, we're not always thinking about somebody who's going to discover our something that's going on inside of us that needs to come out in these photography.
Well, it's not usually a question, it's more of comment. I get a lot of, like I had mentioned before, I'm too fat, I need to lose weight, I'm not photogenic enough, I'm not tall enough, I'm not this enough. And you can't live your life behind the camera. You have to face it and face that fear of the camera and let me capture you the best that I know how, because I'm the professional. And I want your kids to find beautiful images of you, whenever they want, whenever they need, whenever they miss you, whenever
Of
it's,
any stage you were at in your life. So we've all changed all the
we
time,
need to embrace the wrinkles that we have
right?
because you've earned it.
Right. Excellent. So let me ask you about, let's go back to talking about the learning and the growing about learning about business aspects and also about the photography side. And so one of the things I like to talk about a lot, because I think this is so important, is resources and mentors. So finding out how to run a business. And, when you decided you wanted to do this, you probably had no idea that you were going to have to figure out about taxes and figure out about how to pay yourself and the concepts of putting money back in your business. So tell us, how'd you learn that kind of stuff? Where did you get those experiences?
So creativelive.com has educational businesses for all aspects, whether it's business, marketing, photography. It has anything you could think of. So does Lydia. If you want to go even more on a budget, there's lydia.com. You can go to the library and do it for free.
Nice.
There's also your community. There is the county. There's here in Southern Maryland, there's SBDC. There's Workforce. You can get some information through there. They have also free classes that you can take. Business classes. There are business classes online. There are mentorships that you can find, and they can assist you with whatever need you have within that business. And you also have, I have educational site that I use. It's a platform. She's an international renowned photographer called Sue Bryce Education. And so I'm on that. And she also teaches everything from painting a backdrop to making
You
clothes.
paint your own backdrop.
I make my own backdrops, and I make
Cool.
outfits. I sew. I make paper flowers. Like, jack of all trades, but I am a master of all.
Very cool. Well, you touched on a lot of different things there. So I wanted to hit a little piece of each of those just for a minute, because I feel like a lot of that's really important. We've talked about in several interviews that there are resources through the Small Business Administration, and you said SBDC, which is a division in Southern Maryland of the Small Business Administration. And that's true in communities all around the country. So the Small Business Administration has pockets throughout the country of local community business-based training that's free, that you can tap into all over the country. So definitely, if you're thinking about becoming an entrepreneur, going into starting a business, tap into some of that stuff. They'll help you with things like setting your goals, writing out business plans if you feel like that's your plan, understanding accounting practices, understanding basic tax rules, where to find things, the unemployment concepts. Those are all really important things to tap into. And your local library and lots of resources there as well. But the other thing I really wanted to talk about too is, being so, you do all of these different things. How do you keep that all coordinated with getting your mission done? Like, you obviously have to do networking to meet people, but you have your hands in all these different places. And I honestly have to tell you, I really respect that and can get it, because I'm one of those people too. I'm not creative, so I'm not making flowers or backdrops. As you can see, my backdrop's really plain, but I find resources to make it look pretty sometimes. But I'm not, I'm usually stepping into a lot of different places too. Somebody said to me today, you just never sit still. And I don't. That's why I love doing these interviews, particularly right now, because it's keeping me busy and me active, but I'm learning so much from all the people we're talking to. And talk about that just a little bit, because some people just like to have their hands on all those pieces. And obviously you touching all of those is really kind of cool, because it allows you to be a lot more diversified than other people in your kind of industry.
Yes, great point. I like to do everything, not because I want my hands on everything, but because it feeds my soul. So I don't want to be a photographer that's going to be shooting 10 people a day. I want 2 to 3 maybe customers a month that I can devote myself to them, give them the best experience they've ever had. And meanwhile, I have editing to do. I have the business matters to attend to. And when I do these backdrops, or I sew, or I do something more creative, it feeds me. It makes me more in tune with myself. I'm an introvert, even though sometimes it doesn't appear it. But when I talk to people, it takes a lot of energy out of me. And so I need time for myself. I do yoga. I have to relax. I have to, in order to be good, in order to be the best that I can be for others, I have to take care of myself. And I think that's very important when you have a small business, or else you're just gonna go crazy.
Yeah, good points. Very good points. Absolutely good points. So let me ask you one final thing. We talked about elevator pitch earlier, and I like to sort of wrap up with this, because I like people to understand it. They say elevator pitch because it's what you talk about in the elevator, but really what it is what is if somebody asked you got stuck in the elevator, you got stuck in your studio for whatever reason, and there's 4 people in there, and somebody asks, or you're going around the room asking, what do you do for a living? How do you explain that in 10 words or less, in a way that maybe spurs additional conversation? Because ultimately the key is, and I've talked about this, is building relationships with people. That's how you build your business, to build a referral business and relationship business, because people deal with people that they know, that they like, and that they trust. And so building that relationship. So that's what the purpose of the question is to get, to give a little bit of information about what you do and encourage people to ask.
Well, I'm a portrait and branding photographer. I specialize in contemporary portraits, like Vanity Fair style shoots. My job is to create the best image that you've ever seen of yourself and fall in love with every image, but most importantly, to fall in love with yourself. So don't wait. Weight. How would you like to be photographed?
Wow, you are a professional at that one.
Thank you.
Most people don't have any of that spelled out, but that was really good because I do think that the way you said that really speaks to all the aspects of what you can provide somebody. And I'm not even sure there's an additional question other than to say it's really cool the way that you explain that, because people can understand that it's not just about taking an amazing picture. It's also about understanding me, the customer in that picture.
Experience.
Yeah. Very interesting. I really appreciated it and enjoyed that. So, if somebody wants to find you after today, Cindy, how do we do that?
They can find me on Facebook, Schiavetto Photography. I know it's a hard name, but Schiavetto Photography, if you know how to spell it, you can find me anywhere. Because I think
It's also on our screen, and I'm going to ask you to put that in the comments under our video, so that way if anybody wants to find you, they can click right on the link there. So do you have a website as well?
Yes, schiavettophotography.com.
Very good. Very good. And you're hoping for your shop to open as soon as all this craziness is over, probably soon thereafter, 30 or 60 days after we're done with that, right?
Absolutely. And I hope to see you in there.
Fantastic. That's wonderful. Well, I can't wait to meet you in person, Cindy. As I said to you guys, I met her virtually about a week and a half ago, and just one of the kindest people that I've talked to in a long time. Just really enjoyed our conversation and had to get her on to share her story and her energy with you guys. This has just truly been my honor and my pleasure. I really appreciate your time, Cindy.
Thank you so much. Pleasure is all mine.
Awesome. Well, and again, if you guys want to talk to me some more, certainly you can message me through Facebook, and you can also reach me. Happens to me as all. This is live. Reach me through my website, ConnieFuksa.com. There's lots of tools and resources there about helping you figure out how to tell your story, how to do things live like we're doing, help you pull the value of what you do out of your brain and get it out there for everybody to understand better about you. So I can't thank you guys enough for your time today. Tomorrow I will be posting a link of Cindy's interview so she can share it on her page and all of her areas. I'll be sharing it again. And tomorrow we have 3 new entrepreneurs we're going to be talking to. So you guys keep an eye out. And Cindy, you have a great rest of the day. Thank you guys so much.
You as well.
All right, guys, have a good afternoon. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.